Hi, this is Joseph. In this video, I'm going to compare two different prop firms or funding companies. Some people still refer to them as prop firms. So the first one here is Lark Funding. The other company that I'm going to compare this one to is Surge Trader. Now, if you've watched some of the videos on my YouTube channel, I talked about Surge Trader. I liked Surge Trader for quite a while, but I ran into some issues with them. I'll explain briefly here why I would no longer recommend using Surge Trader. So Lark Funding is actually a company that I was pretty excited about several months back. Going back maybe 5, 6 months ago, when they first opened up. Actually, I guess that's probably the best way to say it. And when they first opened up, Lark Funding, um, it's it was put together, I believe, by the gentleman who has a YouTube channel, and he was actually going through a lot of funding challenges himself with different companies. And I believe that he came up with either the investment or the investors and was able to put together this company, but he isolated the things that were troubling traders the most, like the most difficult things about challenges and why most traders fail. Like there's several reasons why that could happen. The first one is obviously just the simple fact that the idea behind funding companies and getting access to this kind of capital is like an amazing opportunity if you really stop and think about it. Like, how long would it take you to save $500,000 of your own money and make that a reality? Most people would struggle to come up with just $10,000, put it in their trading account, and then even if they were to hit the 10% target, which you can see here, the first step or the only step in their evaluation for this company, Lark Funding, is just 10%. But let's just say that you hit 10% on your $10,000 account, you're making $1,000. And on $1,000, well, not too many people can live off of that. But if you start looking at the reality and the possibility of getting a $100,000 account, a 250, or even a $500,000 account, and hitting a 10% target on that, that could be life changing. The payout, and the payout is 75%. It's a 75% split with this company. It's the same with Surge Trader. So again, going back to that idea, to sell these funded accounts is a great dream for a lot of people. I think this is one of the greatest opportunities for day traders. I couldn't imagine, and I would recommend doing it if your goal is to become a full-time trader and to live off of it. This is where you want to go. You want to be able to use somebody else's capital. The other thing is, if you blow up this account, you're not held liable. The funding companies take all of the hit. I mean, they take all of that responsibility, I guess I could say. They run the risk. So they just shut down the account, and you could actually come back even if you did blow up the account and purchase the account again and try again. It doesn't really matter. Now, the reality is, though, we all hear this idea. I've been hearing it since the first day I started trading. 90 to 95% of the traders out there are going to fail. And it is because they just simply don't have the right education, or they continue to use the same methods that just won't work and can't possibly work. They may produce some profits, like on a percentage, if you were to look at a big sample size of trades, but ultimately it's not the true mechanics of why price moves the way it does and when you should be getting in. Now, I know what I just said might seem super vague, right? A lot of people, you've probably heard that before. You don't understand what that means until you understand what that means. That's the difficult part about trading. I didn't know what people were talking about when they would say things like that to me. There were all these vague terms and ideas and sayings out there, but I would think, what does that even mean? Like, I have no point of reference. And that's the biggest challenge. If you start off using Fibonacci's or candlestick patterns, which I did, and then I threw in a couple of simple moving averages at the bottom of my chart, it wasn't getting me anywhere. Like, I would win some, lose some, win some, lose some, and then I'd hang out in chat rooms, and then everybody would be calling out trades, and everybody had an opinion about how we should be using these different candlestick patterns and the different indicators, and it was a mess. And ultimately, that is not the right way to trade. Not if you're going to be a consistently profitable trader year after year after year, if you're going to do it for 20, 30, 40, 50 years and retire on the money that you've earned. Like, it's just not going to happen if you do it the other way. So back to what I'm saying. I sometimes wonder why these funding companies, like, what kind of trouble are some of them going to get into if they build up their business, the funding companies, selling these plans, the 50K plan, the 100K plan, the 250K plan, or the 500. And Search Trader actually has $1 million plan. So how many times can you sell that plan to somebody who's likely to fail? Most traders that buy these plans are going to fail. Not like, again, the concept, 90 to 95% of the traders are going to fail. So the only way that you can pass is by getting some help, whether you're getting assistance by a coach that will work with you and teach you how to trade, teach you how to manually get into the trades, how to analyze the behavior, the price structure that you see on the charts, and know who's doing what and when you should get in. Or you copy somebody's trades. And that's why I offer my trade copier service. My trade copier service actually began as a result of trying to help some of my coaching clients in my chat room back in 2007. Some of them couldn't be there, but they were learning my trading system. I was teaching them in the chat room, and I was calling out live trades, but they couldn't always be there because they were holding down a full-time job. So somebody threw out the idea of a trade copier. And trade copiers were relatively new back then. This is 2007. And so I started using them, and I thought, okay, well, these people, all of my coaching clients, can look at the trades at the end of the day, dissect the trades. First of all, they can see that the system works, but they also start getting a little bit of profit in their trading account. So that was a really good learning tool. And for that reason, I continue to offer the trade copier. So here, in this instance, it can certainly help people. So the reason I bring up the trade copier idea is that the primary reason I'm going to tell most people that ask me, which company would I recommend? I would first of all recommend Lark Funding. There are a couple others, and I'm going to make videos on them as well, other funding companies that do allow the use of a trade copier. But using a trade copier, again, if you're not consistently profitable, how else are you going to get your monthly payout from one of these accounts that you can purchase? How else are you going to do it? How else are you going to achieve that? The only other way to do that, again, is to find a coach, which can be pretty expensive, or use a trade copier service. And then hopefully the trade copier service is operated by somebody who really knows what they're doing. So you got to find a funding company that allows the use of a trade copier, which Lark Funding does. Now, I made another video and I showed a screenshot of the email that I actually sent to Lark Funding. So you could do this right now. You can go to Lark Funding, click on the Contact Us link right there, the navigational option right there. It'll open up a new window. You're going to enter in your name and your email address, and then the question. And the question that I asked Lark Funding, and I've asked this several different times with different emails just to make sure so I could show screenshots of it, because a lot of people ask me, can you really use a trade copier with this company? As far as I know, yes. Like, this is what I would recommend. I would highly recommend you do this yourself just to make sure, because who knows at what point you're going to be watching this video. It could be a month from the time I'm making this video. And the truth is, these companies can change their terms and conditions at any given time. So you want to be very careful, but ask them. And I asked the question, and I said, I'm interested in buying your 100K challenge. I am currently using a trade copier to copy someone else's trade signals. Can I use the trade copier and copy someone's trade signals on the 100K account that I'm going to buy from you? That's what I asked Lark Funding, and they came back and they said yes. Straight up yes. And they say yes no matter how I word that question. So they will allow the use of a trade copier for whatever reason you want to use it for, whether it's to copy your own trades or to copy my trades. And that's a good thing. Now, Surge Trader, I don't recommend them any longer. This is Surge Trader. Surge Trader, again, offers the $1 million account, which is great. They originally offered and allowed people to use the trade copier. And I had purchased many of these accounts myself, thinking that, and I also asked them this question, do you have a maximum on how much I could hold in capital at your company? They told me no initially. So I went out and started buying the top tier level accounts, and I was going to link all of them to my trade copier, which I did. Everything was going fine. And then about 3 weeks ago, and I'm just guessing as far as the time, this is based on, of course, at the time I'm making this video. And about 3 weeks ago, approximately, they made changes to their website and their terms and conditions. So what I can see now is that if you try to purchase any one of these accounts, they have upgrades. They can remove the stop loss requirement, which was a #1 requirement for them back when I first started purchasing my accounts with them. And they also say that you cannot use a trade, you can't copy anybody's trades. You can't trade in concert is the way they word it on their terms and conditions. Which means that if you're using a trade copier, they can detect that the trade copier is on or through your MT4 platform and the trades are going through the trade copier. They can detect it. So if they see it and you try to use it, let's say you go there and you buy the $1 million account and then you buy my trade copier and you try to copy my trades, they'll see that the trades are being copied. And they could disqualify you and not pay you when you hit the 10% target. And then when you hit the whatever percent target on your live funded account after you pass the evaluation, they may not want to pay you out. And I'm just guessing. I'm just going to give you my personal experience and opinion working with these guys. The fact that they changed everything along the way and it changed really fast. I have no personal affiliation with them other than just, recommending them. I did discuss some of the issues that I was having with my trade copier with their CMO, Garrett. I was on a Zoom call and I told him, I have clients that are copying my trades with a trade copier. They're buying your funded accounts, but the stop loss isn't being copied. What can we do about it? And he told me, this is Garrett, he told me that they could remove the stop loss. I had no idea that they could do that. This was kind of new to me back then. I didn't know that funding companies could do this, but I knew that brokers could do that. So anyway, they decided at some point to change those rules and to remove that and go back to everybody that was using my trade copier and try to hit them with a 10% upgrade to remove the stop loss. So I started thinking, are these guys having money problems? Like, why else would they come up with all of these little extras to throw in here and remove the basic structure of what we all purchased these trading accounts under certain presumptions? We understood and we knew that they allowed trade copiers at the time we bought the trading accounts with them. We also understood that, we could they would adjust the stop loss for us if my clients were using the trade copier. And also they told me that there was an unlimited amount of capital that I could hold with their company. So of course they could always say, oh, we never said that, but that's what they said in either email or live chat on their website. I never asked the question to the CMO about the maximum amount of capital that I could hold, but I did discuss the issues with the trade copier with them. But anyway, afterwards they decided to change their policy on trade copiers, so we no longer recommend them. I believe that at this point that they will not let you use a trade copier. They may change their mind if that doesn't work out. But again, it brings me back to this one question that keeps bothering me. What else are they going to sell to traders if it's true that 90 to 95% of the traders are going to fail who attempt trading on their own? What else are they going to sell these people? Like, what else do they have? So it appears to me that they're trying to squeeze out whatever profits they can out of these accounts or these purchases of these different accounts. And at that point, my guess is that their business is probably going to run out. I mean, it's going to dry up at some point unless these companies take the time to educate traders or let them use the trade copier. So let's go back to Lark Funding. Lark Funding, I'm going to end it quickly here by saying, number one, they will let you use a trade copier for any purpose, whether it's to trade your copy trades from your own account. So you could buy a 50K account and then a 100K account. And then you could use a trade copier if you are a consistently profitable trader, and you could execute one trades and the trades would be copied into both of those accounts. So you only have to execute one order, right? It can be kind of time consuming to click multiple buttons on multiple platforms. If you've ever tried it, it gets kind of weird after a while. I do it. So I do it on several different accounts sometimes. But you can see how if you wanted to grow up to the 500. Now, Lark Funding says that their max that you can hold one client is 500,000, but they're working on changing it to 1 million, which is a good thing. So again, they let you use a trade copier for any purpose, including using a trade copier to copy my trades. They don't care. They want you to succeed. Unlike what I think Surge Trader is doing, which is to try to squeeze out as much profit as they can on every sale and not educate their clients and help them win and get a payout every month. These people here at Lark Funding, what their interest is to build a long-term sustainable business and to get that 25% cut from traders who are successfully profitable. However they come about becoming profitable, whether they have to go get a coach or they're going to copy trades or they're going to use a trade copier, whatever it takes. So I like that. Lark Funding wants you to succeed. And I don't see that they're going to get in the way. They're not going to change their mind. There would be really no reason to change their mind because they started off with these rules initially because the gentleman who put this together really took a look at all of these different funding companies to see what's working and what's not working, or what seems to be the biggest challenge for most traders. The other thing I want to say, though, is that, again, the one-step evaluation compared to the two-step evaluations with other companies, I like that. You're going to get there a lot faster. Now, as far as how fast it will take to pass or hit the 10% target, that depends on the market. It really does. Everybody who trades and has been trading for long enough knows that it really depends on the market. I know that there are videos out there on YouTube and guys have mathematical formulas and figured out it's not that hard to figure out. You can just kind of think about it just reasonably. And guys have developed strategies and they say that you can pass in 2 to 6 or 8 different trades depending on which video you watch. I would be very, very careful with that. To me, it's kind of like controlled gambling. Yes, you can do it. Yes, it can be done. Yes, you're adding a lot of, I mean, you're using leverage. It's just insane, in my opinion, and it could return to bite you, right? It could get you. It does get some of those guys, and those guys end up blowing up some of their accounts, and you can see it if you watch and look through the rest of their videos. They'll show you their blown up funded accounts because they're just using capital that's just, I mean, they're just really over leveraging their accounts. You don't want to do that. You don't need to do that. And you don't need to upgrade. So right here it reads upgrades available upon checkout. I wouldn't upgrade. I wouldn't go 1 to 20 or anything else. 1 to 10 is fine. It's the number of opportunities that we're looking for, and it's got to be sustainable. Because the truth is, if you're going to use my trade copier and you're going to buy one of these accounts, you want a monthly payout for as long as I'm willing to continue to trade. I'm relatively young. I say this all the time. I'm relatively young. I plan on trading for the rest of my life. That's going to be a long ways to go. And it really isn't any extra work for me to execute one trade and have it filled out for each one of my clients. I mean, through the use of the trade copier. I execute a trade. The trade copier just duplicates everything that I do, and it enters that trade for you in your own funded account, which is great. That's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want. You want to be able to do that for as long as you possibly can. Again, I take care of myself. I do not have any plans of closing this up anytime soon. So again, you want something that's sustainable. You don't want to go in with this gambling mentality and try to pass in 1 or 2 trades and then hit a 10% target within 1 or 2 trades every single month and then coast, until you get your payout, because you can get a payout every single month. It's a matter of being consistent year after year. That's what you want. You want to be able to build your life on this. A lot of people, again, will go after some of these higher accounts because they really want to see the payout quickly. Now, again, the split is the same as Surge Trader, again, but I don't recommend Surge Trader for different reasons. They change their terms and conditions. They will probably do it again. I don't trust them, and they don't allow the use of the trade copier. But everything else, as far as their evaluation structure and the rules and the parameters, seem to be pretty much in line. This company and Surge Trader and several others out there. The 10% target is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can hit it in 2 weeks. You can hit it in 2 months. It just depends on how active the market is. And again, if you're using my trade copier, all of the trades are going to be automatically entered into your account. And Lark Funding does not have a problem with it. Overall drawdown, max daily drawdown is pretty much the same as Surge Trader and a lot of other companies out there. And that's it. I mean, the pricing is all pretty much in line with some of the others as well. Again, I hope soon that Lark Funding will come out with the 1 million. But in the meantime, I mean, $250,000, $500,000 is really good. I mean, you start looking at the numbers, a 5% monthly payout, 5% target on some of these accounts. That's not bad. And I would say that's about average. That's good. Even if it's a slow month with a little bit of work and some consistency, that can be done. Other months, it's going to be better than 10%. It really depends on the market activity. Now, one last thing I want to say is that if you're looking at purchasing one of these accounts and you want to use my trade copier, sign up for my trade copier first. And then I'll give you any instructions about what you need to do to make sure you're getting the right funded account through Lark Funding. If you have any questions, though, please send me an email, and then you can go and get your Lark Funding funded account, and then we can connect it to the trade copier. It only takes 5 minutes or less. Like, that's really how long it takes to get your Lark funded account connected to my trade copier. And then from that point on, you're going to get the very next trade I execute. And this only works, or I think it works best, on the MT4 platform. Just make sure on the checkout, you're clicking MT4 platform. That's what you want. You want to buy the MT4 platform. You don't need to do the upgrade on the leverage. Just stick with the 1 to 10. Just leave it the way it is. And again, the stop loss placement, this is another question I get. Stop loss. I always enter in a stop loss before I click the buy or sell button. I have to do that. I have to do that on all of my accounts. It's just a habit that I've developed over the course of time, and I highly recommend that every trader do it. You should always have a stop loss. I mean, some people will argue with me, and I can see their point, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a personal preference sometimes, but I always enter in a stop loss, so you're going to be protected. What's the maximum stop loss? I never use a stop loss over 50 points. Sometimes it could be 55 with Forex, and then with US 30, it's approximately 100 points. I generally can get away with most of my trades. You'll see that the stop loss will be about 45, sometimes 60, sometimes 70 points on US 30, but I'm always looking for opportunities to minimize that stop loss. I really don't like exceeding 100 points on US 30 for a stop loss, and I don't like exceeding 50 to 55 pips on Forex trades. But in almost every instance, I can minimize it. I can, just by patiently waiting, zeroing in on a smaller time frame, making sure the setup is perfect, and finding I can minimize that stop loss and finding a better opportunity. Thank you very much for watching this video.